Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Baby, please.
Baby,
They said
please.
Jello. He done went from
He went
swerving
to
around
Jello.
corners to begging.
He said,
Sounds nice.
"Oh yeah, we in here, live and direct,
Sounds nice.
and in effect,
Live, direct, and in effect.
live, direct, and in effect."
Coming to you live from the Sit Your Ass Down studios. Welcome to the Me and D
Pops and Son
podcast.
for that ass,
For that ass.
for that ass.
For that ass.
No Diddy.
No Diddy, no doubt.
doubt.
Today is May 11th, 2025. We thank you so much for listening to us. Happy Mother's Day
Happy
to
Mother's
all the
Day.
mothers out
Yeah.
there, the
Okay.
moms,
Holding
the
it down.
wives, the grandmothers, yeah, I almost said the grandfathers.
Mama. Nowadays, the grandfathers too that identify as mothers. No,
That is true. Very
that is
true.
true. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Sanchili de Pantalones.
Right. Sanchicha and pantalones.
Oh, man. I can't stay away from that. Still too funny. I had to do the full description of it. And if you all don't know what we're talking about, listen to last week's podcast.
Yeah, go to last week's episode
for a little reference point and
Hilarious.
what we're talking about. We'll start off with the topic, then we'll get into paying some respects and birthdays and sports
Absolutely.
history. It's not a sandwich.
Oh, it's not a panini.
It's not a taco.
It's not a burrito.
It's not a pizza. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. It threw me
Derek
off.
Carr.
Yeah, I was about to say, it threw me off. I know he's going to do it this early.
Yeah, I figured because it was like fresh and
it was fresh.
Just happened yesterday and it was out of the blue for real.
It was.
I was just wondering what the timing was, but going back to the original point, Derek Carr, quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, calls it quits after 11 seasons, leaving $30 million on the table by stepping away at this particular time. I know that helps his team out. I don't know. I might be tempted to try to get that shoulder right and go out there for a few more plays.
30
Selfishly, I would go out there and try to make that money, but
I wouldn't blame you.
Good for him. It also opens up the door now for Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck, the rookie who was just drafted out of Louisville. So they can battle it out in camp, see if either one can get that starting spot, or will they make a trade with someone?
Yeah, dang. First of all, shout out to Derek Carr. That was what do you call that? That's just that is leaving $30 million so that the team can structure and you're not hindering the franchise. That's remarkable, you could say. But I don't know about leaving that cheese on the table. I don't know about 30 M's.
Exactly.
Can I get some of that cheese?
Because how he had to work for it.
Right.
And just the pain that quarterbacks endure.
That's what I'm saying. Just for your troubles. That's $30 million for your troubles. To think about it, you're retiring. You're not going to play football. So until you find another avenue that can keep creating revenue, I think 30 mil might hold you over. But just until then. But
since they're going to pay it anyway.
They ain't missing the money anyway.
Anyway.
But yeah, that's remarkable for him to do that. It shows up his character and the standards that he has. So that's good for him. Shout out to him. But this opens the door for someone else, a new QB. It's definitely Saints. Definitely could have took a Shador.
Keep reading that Cleveland may be in line to trade with the Saints to relieve themselves of a quarterback. You got four in the room, and that's not counting Deshaun Watson.
Right.
So it might be to New Orleans' advantage to go out and maybe see, hey, can we get one of those quarterbacks on the cheap just for some insurance? And I forgot the other quarterback. I think it's Jay Hayner. I played a little bit for him last year. So they've got three young quarterbacks in the room. But you might want a veteran as well. So it might make you want to go after a Kenny Pickett or a Joe Flacco who's on Cleveland's roster. But yeah, it's a wrap for Derek Carr. Just to go through his stats real quick. 11 seasons in the league, threw for 41,245 yards,
Okay.
257 TDs, 112 interceptions. He had a QB rating of 92.8, not shabby,
Not
and
shabby at all.
completed 65.1% of his passes. So wasn't an elite quarterback, but he was a very serviceable and a
Right.
good quarterback.
Yeah, he
led the
was.
Raiders to several seasons before he went to New Orleans. So it's a wrap. Congratulations on a fine career, Mr.
Yes,
Carr.
sir. Mr. Carr.
And sounds like you made quite a bit of money because you're willing to leave 30 mil
He
on
ain't
the
tripping, I guess.
table.
Right.
And just a little hint to the Saints organization, me and D could use a little bit of that since you got money
If you just
just
trying to make
laying
money on
around.
I ain't just laying around, just in the closet or just out and about. You ain't worried about no 30 M's, but yeah, that's
we're trying to get that studio built. So
yeah, absolutely.
anything that you can put, maybe we need to do a GoFundMe. D. Just a
Why not?
random thought, but
Just why
people
not?
do it all the time, don't
All
they?
the time to
For,
support.
for less.
Yeah.
Support your boys. Holler at us. Anyway, rest in peace.
There's a crackhead down the street who did a GoFundMe. I just need $10. If y'all can just muster up just some change.
He don't even have internet access,
Right.
but
He don't
he's got
even
a
have-
GoFundMe page.
Right. He already at 9 million. From the GoFundMe.
Rest in peace to American golfer Jim Dent, was one of
rest in
the
peace.
few African Americans who played
Wow.
on both the PGA and senior tours. He passed away late last week, and I just saw it the other day, so I wanted to give him a shout out, pay respects to James Foley, American film director, Chet Lemon, American baseball player, and then Frank Caprice, Canadian hockey player, all passed away
Wow.
this
Rest in
past
peace.
week. So rest in peace to them. Birthdays on May 11th, which is today, to
Mhm.
St. Louis and former NFL and collegiate star Jeremy Maclin celebrates a birthday. To Cam Newton.
Newton.
Much talked about these days. Cam Newton played for Auburn, won a Heisman Trophy, NFL MVP with the Panthers back in 2015, Pro Bowler. He celebrates a birthday. Born in the ATL, still lives there. Lloyd Pierce, American head coach. He coached your Hawks for, I think, a couple of seasons.
Okay.
Matt Leinart, former quarterback, played in the NFL, went to
I remember
USC.
Matt Leinart.
Yeah, Matt Leinart. Brian Rust, NHL hockey right winger, plays for the Pittsburgh Penguins. To Big X the Plug, the biggest, the baddest. Rapper, producer, Big X the Plug celebrates a birthday today. Actress Frances Fisher. Former MTV VJ Martha Quinn is 66 today. Happy birthday to her. Then to
Martha.
Rapper Ace Hood is 37. And then a couple
That's
of
an Ace Hood fan.
Happy belated heavenly birthdays to your grandparents. My dad, David T. Johnson, would have celebrated a birthday on the 8th. On the 7th, Miss Arlie Wade, my dear mother-in-law, your grandmother, she would have celebrated a birthday. So happy heavenly birthdays to those folks. And then sports history on May 11th. In 2016, Max Scherzer strikes out 20 batters, matching the major league record for a 9-inning game as he pitches the Washington Nationals past the Detroit Tigers 3-2. In 2014, TPC at Sawgrass, German Martin Keimer leads after each round to win by 1 stroke over Jim Furyk. In 2009, Cleveland makes an NBA record 8 straight wins by double digits with an 84-74 victory over your Atlanta Hawks to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Cavaliers are the second team to sweep the first 2 rounds of the playoffs since the NBA expanded the first round to the best of 7 in 2003. In 1992, the Portland Trailblazers win the highest scoring playoff game in NBA history, 153-151.
Oh, no defense.
In double overtime.
Dang, they was scoring.
No defense whatsoever.
No defense.
In 1980, Pete Rose was 39 years old. He stole second, third, and home, all in 1 inning for the Phillies.
Wow.
In 1977, Ted Turner manages an Atlanta Braves game. 1968. Now, I thought this was a misprint, It happened in 68 and 69. We reported 69 last week. In 1968, the Montreal Canadiens win the Stanley Cup, completing a 4-game sweep over the St. Louis Blues with a 3-2 victory. So they swept them in back-to-back seasons, 68 and 69.
68 and 69 was not a good year.
Not good years for the Blues.
For the Blues.
In 1963, LA Dodgers pitcher Sandy Koufax throws his second career no-hitter. In 1959, New York Yankees catcher Yogi Berra, his errorless streak of 148 games came to an end. So a few birthdays, some history, some paying our respects to those who have left us. We shall move on to the NBA playoffs.
Let's go. The NBA. Let's go. NBA players.
All right.
NBA playoffs.
Jason Tatum, JT.
Tatum
was getting slammed by the national media, the fans, and rightfully
as well as
so.
He should.
But he changed the narrative in game 3. He came out with a line of 22 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists.
Okay.
In the Celtics 115-93 win over
the Knickerbockers,
New York Knicks on Saturday in Madison Square Garden. That was a big win for them. Nice comeback win, and they definitely needed it.
They needed that. Shoot, blowing 2 20-point leads at home against the New York Knickerbockers. Man, you had to come back with some type of win because you don't want to be down 3-0 against a hot team like that. I still got Boston, but man, the way
they got Boston in 6.
This is probably a scare or something they needed to awaken. A wake-up call. Because that's a scrappy team, and you don't want to go down in momentum to a team like that. But it's good that they bounced back. But it's not like I'm rooting for Boston. I wouldn't mind seeing the upset, but that's good for JT that he bounced back. But is it alarming? Is this kind of, this is how the playoffs happen. Sometimes you come out lackadaisical. You might overlook a team, and these things happen. So let's see if they lock in, because that would be crazy if New York steals this series.
It's perfect for the Celtics, though, being that they were one of the best road win teams, and the Knicks were one of the worst at home.
Oh, get that access.
I see some product placement.
That's a product placement.
Nice.
Product placement.
A little bit of excess.
And
we are powered by excess.
In the AM.
The Knicks lost by 20 yesterday, which was crazy. They never were really in it. But my question is, if a team just keeps shooting threes and they miss and you get walked down, isn't that bad coaching by Joe Mazzulla?
Absolutely, that's bad coaching. Yeah. What are you telling the players? Go to the basket, go to the hoop, get a more high percentage shot. They were living by the 3, dying by the 3, and ultimately
lost by the 3.
And lost by the 3 in your demise. That's coaching right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling it. As soon as you start seeing the walk down,
right.
All right. No.
And I'm taking somebody out.
Yeah,
and putting somebody in.
Who's gonna go to the paint, okay, and get these twos? Because Karl Anthony Towns, he's soft down in the paint. If you don't attack him and get a bucket, what's the worst gonna happen? He's not an aggressive defender. He's not a fearful defender. I'm not really scared if my shot is gonna get blocked. I'm going in the paint and attacking.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's definitely coaching on Mazzulla, especially if you up 20 and you do it twice. That's definitely bad coaching.
First game, okay, they walked us down. I didn't manage the game properly. But what about his assistants? What are they saying to him? Hey, coach, are we going to let this happen again? Or if I'm, what's his name, Sam Cassell, I'm sitting there over on the bench, I'm whispering to somebody, hey, man, when you get in, attack the basket.
Say, man.
Do not shoot a 3. Attack the basket. And one of those timeouts, if I'm Joe Mazzulla, I'm like, if you shoot a 3, I'm pulling you.
Right.
And I'll put the water boy in. Somebody who's going
to shoot a 2.
Somebody's going to shoot a 2.
Extended.
We've talked about this ad nauseum all this season, the proliferation of the 3-point shot.
Proliferation.
Proliferation
of
the 3-point shot. At some point, all you need is 2. You just need to make a basket.
Need a bucket. Yeah, you just need a bucket, whether it's a 2 or a 3.
Just to break that string and get back in the flow of scoring. Then you might open it up after you
Right.
get your lead back.
It's a little momentum, get a
yeah,
little
but
turning. Just a couple shots go in the basket. Okay, now I'm feeling good. But you just shooting them dead cold at the water, cold turkey. Nah, and then the fact that it happened to you twice, that just shows, okay, you need to change something up because you didn't make no type of adjustments from game 1 to game 2. It's the playoffs.
is that stupidity or arrogance or both? A little bit of both.
A little bit of
It
both. A
seems
little
like
bit
it's a
of
little bit of arrogance, like
or
they won't do it again, and
a
I'm the
false sense of confidence or
right.
something like that. You did the same thing, got the same results. So you gotta, yeah, it's almost a little bit of arrogance and stupidity. In fact, because you let it happen again. You didn't even learn
You
from your
didn't learn your
mistake.
lesson.
You touched the hot pan twice. And you like, nah, it ain't hot.
Oh, your hands just bubbled up.
Just blistered and blackened. You ain't learned.
Surely if I touch it again, it won't burn.
Nah, it can't be hot.
Now your hand is cooking.
Tripping. Yeah,
Yeah,
tripping.
good for them that they woke up. Moving on to the other series, which Pacers have a 2-1 lead, and they will play this. They will play tonight. Let me get it right. They will play tonight. But my point on this one is Donovan Mitchell. We talked about it in our group chat.
Yep.
Talked about him a little bit on our Outside the NBA, which is out right now.
Yeah,
latest release.
Go check out those episodes
out on YouTube right now.
Yes, sir.
Donovan Mitchell has shown us something different in this series. He's made me step back and look at his game and put more respect on his name and his game. Because he's playing with injuries. He's had several teammates, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, they've been out. DeAndre Hunter's been out, but he's been carrying the team despite the fact that they were down 0-2. They won. They finally got a victory. Was that Friday? Yeah, they got that victory Friday. They will play today. They're on the road at the Pacers, and they'll try to even up the series. Like I said, they trailed 2-1 right now. They'll play later on tonight. But what's your take on Mr. Donovan Mitchell, D, and his game?
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell, I think he's definitely a dog. Earlier on in his career, he was still emerging, but we saw this type of performances in the bubble with Utah, him going off for 40, 50. He's a scorer. He's definitely been in a position where he can score, definitely got the bunnies, but I think now you see a more maturity to his game. When you talk about top players in the league conversation, you really can't leave out Donovan Mitchell now.
You kind of overlook him for some reason.
Yeah, you do definitely kind of overlook him. I don't know if it's the market, and we just got so many other players. There's always the new hotness. You got Wemby, you got different players, SGA. You got just different players who take the spotlight, but he does get overlooked. But his game is nice. And I know what we were talking reminds me a little bit of like a D Wade, the way he slashes, get to the basket, his mannerisms, the type of basketball that he plays. Just probably just can shoot the three a little bit better in today's game, but that's just the three more abundant now. But yeah, I think he's a definitely good player now. He's definitely going to need some help for sure. He did put up a 40 piece in game 2, but it was in a loss because he didn't have that support in a supporting cast. So he's definitely going to need some help, but definitely respect his game and where he's at and what he's doing for the Cleveland Cavaliers to bring him back into playoff contention. So yeah, he got a nice game. He's pretty solid.
He does. And as we mentioned, they will be the nightcap game this evening. The Nuggets have stunned me, D, moving on to the Denver and the Oklahoma series. One, just because we were talking about this the other night, again, on Outside the NBA.
Outside the NBA.
Dre and Trey both very adamant that Denver is the better team. And I keep saying that OKC, who had the best record this year.
Yeah, you know me.
Had a good season last year, and I thought that they had learned from their playoff experience. But I don't know. Denver just seems to have their number. They play them well. They've got a 2-1 lead in the series. And again, like I said, they're the opening game today at 2:30. If they take a 3-1 lead over,
it's a wrap.
It's going to be a wrap.
They know how to close out a game. They know how to close out a series. It goes down to, I was riding with OKC Thunder, man. I thought they were pre-cooking, getting ready, but Denver came in there with the experience, especially not really having a lead coach like that. That is crazy. The fact that they're, it's not crazy that that they're winning the series, but it is showing that Jokic, that team chemistry, they play as a team. Russell Westbrook has been good off the bench. I think he's been playing to where he's definitely helping the team out a lot as well. Shout out to Russ. But Yeah, Denver's coming with that experience.
And that man Aaron Gordon has stepped up. We talked about it a little bit the other night.
Like,
he's doing some clutch shots against OKC, and he's playing good defense as well.
Yeah, they play as a squad. So if Denver gets this one, it just shows you in the playoff experience, chemistry, that beats talent any day. Especially you can even go back to the first round when the Warriors beat the Rockets. Experience, the chemistry, that goes a lot longer than just having just young talent, because that's two similar situations that are going series right now that are going on. And OKC, hey, welcome. This is the real deal. This is the playoffs. So it might have been a little bit premature. We don't know yet. We'll see after today's game. But if you go down 3-1, it's gonna be
a
tough.
Wrap.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough going against a former defending champs from 2 years prior. So
right, we got that championship medal.
Yep.
You brought up the Warriors. They were coming off a high of knocking off Houston, and they took a quick 1-0 lead in the series against Minnesota. But after Stephen Curry got hurt in game 2, and now they're down 2-1 after losing last night. I don't think they're gonna get Steph back this series. I'm almost thinking he's done for the year, D.
Yeah, just
I hate to say it, that's my team, but a hamstring is, man, I had one 10 years ago and it still bothers me.
For real though, that's just something you can't just quickly rush. That's something that's not just, oh, I'm gonna just play on it. That's something you really can't control. And
and everybody's timetable for healing is different. You just can't say it's a 2-week thing and then he'll be back, because one quick twitch the wrong way and he's injured again. And the way he runs the floor, constantly moving, he's gotta run. He can't just be isolated, or we can let him walk up the court and just be stationary in one spot. They're gonna double team, triple team him. He's not gonna have any movement, and he'll be a detriment to the team. But that injury definitely, literally hamstrung the Warriors. Like
absolutely.
I said, they're down 2-1 and they're fighting for their playoff lives right now. We'll see if they can get back in it, but they lost a game last night that they should have won.
Yep.
And I blame this, and I'm so sick and tired of this dude. Draymond Green fouled out of the game.
Draymond Green.
When you needed him, D,
he's
to
supposed to
stay
be
in the game and be that other person that Jimmy Butler need, because Jimmy did his job last night. He was playoff Jimmy. Jonathan Kuminga came in and played well. But when you needed that solid leadership down the stretch, it was a 102-97 ball game. And I forgot the time that Draymond actually fouled out. But it was just unnecessary. This is when your team needed you to be a leader. And you didn't step up, man. I'm
definitely didn't step up.
I'm so sick of Draymond, D.
It's crazy.
Sick of that dude.
I don't know what be going through his head though. Like a lot of these antics and stuff like that, you can control it. And I know he was talking about when he got the technical foul. Was it in game 2? Yeah, was it game 2 when he was talking about?
It was game 2 because they're down 2-1. Yeah, and
I hate everyone trying to make me out to be the angry black man or the I'm tired of that narrative. What were you talking about, bro? No one's talking about no angry black man.
And nobody's targeting you.
Yeah, ain't nobody's targeting. Maybe somebody else was that we don't know about. But as far as just the antics is what we're seeing right now. It has nothing to do with you being the angry black guy or whatever. Like what you
I'm
talk
a successful, well-educated,
which you are, and that is important. And
that has nothing to do with this.
But what about the antics, though? Right. Where's the leadership? Steph is down. The leader is down. They need someone else to guide the troops to the promised land. You've been there before. You're a multiple champion. If you're smart and all the stuff that you're saying, okay, making the smart play would not be doing these antics. You would step up and take that control and be that focal point to push them. You're in the playoffs right now. You're trying to pretty much, what is this? Hold the Wolves off. Literally, you're trying to hold the Wolves off until Steph can come back. But who knows when that's going to be? So, yeah,
the narrative that he tried to spin was just stupid. Nobody's trying to make you seem like an angry black man.
Until I'm dizzy.
Angry black idiot?
Now, there you go.
Now, that's true.
He's tripping. Because
that just really ticked me off, D.
Yeah.
Really ticked
they
me
can,
off.
because they still can fight and they still can win. Like you said, how playoff Jimmy, they could have won that game, so you can
They
still
had
battle,
that game.
and you can still beat a Wolves team
Yeah.
without Steph, and at least try to see how he is in the next
If
series.
you can get to the next round,
like
yeah.
for real,
It needs him being a smart ball player. If you're
Right.
so educated, well educated, as you said, then show that
well, you making
education.
bonehead
Show that smartness. Yeah. Like,
decisions.
yeah, those antics, like you said, they're just wearing on me. I'm done. I've said it a
Steve
year
Kerr,
or
I
so
think, done
ago.
with it too.
Say
Steve Kerr-
again.
I think Steve Kerr done with it too, because it's just
Well, you get tired of answering the same question. Well, what about Draymond? Well, what
Man,
about
you
Draymond? I mean, like, what about Draymond? He fouled out because I think he had less than 10 points. I'm almost positive he probably didn't have 8 points. I don't even remember him making anything. I think maybe he had a layup or something, but I know you had 5 or 6 fouls and you fouled out when we really desperately needed you on the court for that
Right.
leadership. So the NBA draft lottery takes place Monday, the 12th, which is tomorrow. Who will win the draft rights to take Cooper Flag with that top pick? So the teams that finish with the 3 worst records, D, are Utah, Washington, and Charlotte. They all have the highest odds at 14% of winning the number 1 pick. Utah, Washington, and Charlotte. Those are his possible destinations. If I was him, I'd try to go to
Washington and Charlotte.
I'd try to go to Charlotte since he
Yeah,
you just played in that area playing for Duke.
Utah, Washington, and Charlotte.
Stay in the North Carolina area. I'd rather just stay there.
Yeah.
Utah, that's just
Nah,
you're
I ain't
just
trying to go
way
to
on
YouTube.
over on the western side of the country, but
Now,
you're
he
not
does
on the
have
West
the-
Coast.
He has the complexion for the protection, so he'll be good out there.
And is he
Utah.
old enough to drink? Because that's a dry state.
Right.
I don't even think you can drink in
That
the
might
state.
be, that might be good. That might be good for him.
might be good for his development.
Right, development. The Utah Jazz, they seem, I'm thinking from like an organization standpoint that,
You got Danny Ainge out there kind of guiding the ship
yeah.
in terms of the front office.
So that wouldn't be a terrible market to go to. They've had some superstars.
Tell
to
me
go
another
there.
player who plays for Utah right now.
Oh, right now?
I can only think of one, and that's because he was. I think he was in one of the. Is it Laurie Markin?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can.
He's the only one I
describe
know
him.
of.
Right, I can describe him. I don't know how to pronounce his name. That's the only one I could think of.
But that's the only person you can think of, I think, because he's been an all-star a couple of times.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that's the only one I could think of. I could not pronounce his name.
Is it Laurie Markin?
It sounds. Yeah.
Hold on, let me look it up.
I was about to say John Stockton Jr.
Damn.
I don't know. That's crazy, but yeah,
John.
Charlotte wouldn't be bad. You play with LaMelo. That might be a nice little another superstar to play with if LaMelo can stay healthy.
That's it. We were right. Laurie Markkinen.
Yep.
Markkanen. Laurie is spelled different. Lauri.
That wouldn't be a.
So
I
for
really
his
wouldn't want to go to
development,
Washington. Yeah.
So his second contract is when he's going to go to a good team when he demands to get out.
When he demands to trade
or
out of that
becomes
market.
a free agent.
Yep. Yeah, because that second team, he'll make a splash and go somewhere. But as far as development, Utah be good. As far as probably like comfortability, well, not comfortability, but you'll have another superstar there in LaMelo if he can stay healthy. You have a young squad in Charlotte that you can play with. But I think maybe your development and kind of being like the professional side, Utah might be better
than Washington.
Suited for him in Washington. That's the dead zone.
That's where old players go to die. There's your career.
Wait.
I took it to DC.
Right.
Never to be seen again.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go there. I'm really not trying to go there. They just don't seem like they develop players there, keep superstars there. It's sometimes organization has a lot to do with the development of players. So yeah. But that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be interesting to see where he lands.
All right, son. Got a question for you. Have you ever had to pay up on a bet similar to how Paul Pierce had to this past week?
Oh no.
Where you just make a bet so outlandish and then you gotta come pay
up.
What
you say?
Paul Pierce?
Yeah, I didn't hear what he said.
Oh, you didn't hear what he did?
So I don't know the bet.
Okay, so I'm glad you said that so I can explain it. So on Tuesday, he got on his show on FS1, and this is after the Celtics got walked down by the 20 points.
Right.
So he made a declarative statement that not only would the Celtics not get walked down by 20 again, but if they did lose at home game 2, he would walk to work in a bathrobe and no shoes for 15 miles. He ended up walking 20 miles in a bathrobe. He paid up on his bet.
Yo, that's crazy.
You go to Instagram.
8 hours.
It took him 8 hours to walk 20 miles. And he did have his bathrobe on. He did have shoes on. He was smart. He wore shoes. And he paid up on his bet.
You had to wear the shoes. Feet
Got
would
to
have
wear
been.
the shoes. He even said his feet were hurting. They were killing him. He's, man, I stink. I need a shower. But he was Instagramming along the way. And I kept saying, he's getting an Uber for a few miles and he'll get out. But they said that he actually did walk it. They proved that he did walk the 20 miles.
20 miles is crazy.
To work, yeah. And so he sat down like right in front of the Fox studios, and one of the reporters said, "Hey, man, people say you cap. You really didn't do it." And his response was, "I'm the truth. No cap." So,
hey, the
congratulations to Paul Pierce.
I'm sure his dogs was barking, boy.
Man,
I'm sure his
20 miles.
20 miles. When you just been chilling for real.
That's what he was saying, man.
Chilling.
That just shows I still have the mental fortitude to push through
I was about to say that
adversity.
That mental game, respect that. One, because the follow through, and just because no one's upholding you to do that. No one's really just being like.
They'd have been on the internet, on social media, clowning him though.
Yeah, you would have got clowned either way, but
he came through. He came through on his bet.
And I like that as just challenging yourself. That might just be something he might needed to do as far as going back into that competitive mindset as an athlete, former athlete. You always want to just challenge yourself and be like, you know what, I can do this. So that's a crazy, the fact that that was a crazy bet to make, but to actually follow through with that, shout out to Paul Pierce. That's what's up. But yeah, that's why I don't bet.
That's what I was going to ask you. So you never had a bet that you had to pay off?
Nothing that crazy.
Me either.
Nothing that crazy.
I'll have to buy you a drink, or I'd buy you a meal or something like that.
Yeah, we usually do like a meal.
Yeah, I'm not doing no physical where I can be physically harmed by the bet. I'm not doing that, especially something I can't control.
Right.
That's what I always tell people. If I can't control the outcome of it, I'm probably not going to make that bet.
And I don't do no crazy like high bet as far as like money too.
Oh no.
If there's no ties for me, like it's one if I'm betting on like the Braves or like one of my team, but if I'm just betting on a team that I don't even know, care about, really don't even watch, no, I would just keep my team.
Right. For you, that's pretty good. I'm gonna keep my 5.
Right, like for real. Like
I'm not betting any money. I work too hard for it to just give it
away.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go down that road because some people have vices, so I won't. Yeah, we'll leave that one alone.
It is when you do win, it just hit, but
that exhilaration,
right? But
I don't do it for frustration.
I don't do it for the thrills. I need to pay these bills.
Exactly. I got you, but yeah, good shout out to the truth, Paul Pierce.
Shout out to the truth, dog.
For coming through on his, paying off his bet. Because, brother, I would have made the bet. I wouldn't have made the stakes so high though. Because the chances of them getting walked down 2 games in a row, 20-point leads, I see why he was confident. But man, oh man, what you had to do to pay that damn bet off.
Ooh, I bet, man, 20 miles is crazy.
That's crazy.
8 hours of just walking is ridiculous.
You're in LA, sun was shining. He took his time.
Right, probably stopped off somewhere.
So
maybe
got
something like
to drink. Yeah,
something to drink.
Because they did have people following him and filming with him and posing
took a
with
little
him,
break,
taking pictures.
Yeah. Just
but
took a little break.
Though, he made the walk. He made the trek. You got my attention.
Okay.
Happenings in and around college sports. This one was hot and heavy, and I almost let it go. And I'm like, we need to talk about this. Former ESPN writer Pablo Torre did a deep dive story on Uncle Bill Belichick and his problems with his girlfriend Jordan Hudson, supposedly running his life as if he's a senile old man.
He might be.
It was reported that she had been banned from the North Carolina's football facilities, but the school has since denied this. I also think, D, there's a misconception that because she's influencing his life and his moves and guiding some of his activities, that he was losing players. Now, he did lose 23 players through the transfer portal, but he's brought in 21 players. And to me, I think is being a little bit misconstrued in terms of, you're a new head coach. There's players that you don't want because you're trying to
Right.
change the outlook of the program, the trajectory of the program.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get rid of some players. Deion did it when he went to Colorado.
Right.
I'm
Yep.
bringing my own people with me.
Yep.
So I think they're trying to characterize it as players are unhappy with him, but I think it's a wash. I'm bringing in some,
Right.
and I'm going to lose some.
Yeah. Yep.
Through attrition. But I guess the real story is, how much is she behind the scenes controlling his program? Because if it's what they say or what we're led to believe, he's never going to be coaching in the NFL again.
No, he's not. He's definitely not coaching in the NFL again. I think for some reason he's blackballed. Yeah, the owners or something like that. They don't want him because I don't think he would have ever, especially this past year, all the teams that needed a good head coach. You know, how many times are you going to get a 6-time Super Bowl winning NFL coach at your locker room, at your doorstep? Didn't seem like the NFL's really messing with him. Now as far as the girlfriend and everything, I feel like he needed something to get his little mojo back. Yeah, so the girlfriend running the life, I can see it for sure, especially with him. I can just see she running the things because as far as what she brings to the table, he's winning in that situation. He's winning in that regard. But that could also throw a lot of players. That could throw a lot of people off as far as, okay, this ain't the Bill that I thought, like championship Bill. Like,
that's
you
what
got
a lot of his ex players are saying.
Right, like,
isn't the Bill Belichick we know?
Right, you wouldn't old Bill Belichick, you think he would allow one of his players to have their girlfriend or a spouse or some type of distraction even near the premises, let alone on the field, running the show, telling what to do? It's just, who is this dude? Like, you coming into our program and to steal the toughness, the structure, the discipline, the consistency, but you over here drinking pumpkin spices with Sabrina. I don't know her name, but it's just like
Jordan Hudson.
Jordan Hudson, but it's not the same Bill that we're used to seeing or that we perceived before in years past. So it's just, that could throw a lot of people off. Now, granted, like you said, it is a wash because if he didn't get any players back with him, then it'll be a problem. But it's the transfer portal. You get players that go out, and then as long as you're getting players back in that are part of your program that you want to groom and you have your own identity, then that's fine. But it is a lot of distractions. There's no type of distractions around Bill going on. Usually, like, they're hush hush. Usually they're disclosed. Usually this is the Patriot way. He brings his philosophy, and this is how we do things, and we do it differently than any other. We're not with all the antics and stuff like that. But it seems like it's a little bit uncharacteristic of Uncle Bill right now.
Right.
What's going on?
It goes against, like you say, the persona,
right,
and what we thought he was as a coach. But maybe she makes him a younger person, literally.
Right. Maybe this is different. Maybe this is good for him. Maybe
it's good for him. She just doesn't need to be
up.
around the facility so much, because they said she was trying to run the press conferences, things of that nature. And yeah, the school is not having it now.
Right.
Again, like they say, they haven't banned her from the facilities, but I'm pretty sure they've probably put some restrictions on her, as
definitely.
well they should.
Yeah.
Bill, if this is your program, you run the program, not
why
you and your girlfriend. They say the other question too, D, and it's kind of hush hush as to if she's 24 now, and they say they met 6 years ago, saying she might have been 19 when they officially started kicking this relationship off.
18.
Yeah, so she might have been 18 or 19. So now they're not really talking about for real, when did we meet and when did we start pursuing this relationship.
Yeah, how long y'all been together? Oh man, we've been together about 6 years. Okay, 6 years. How old are you? 21. 21.
Right.
Not even to laugh at. That's just okay.
Borderline creepy.
Is this an owner's daughter?
Not that I know of.
Okay, I'm about to say maybe
they
that's
make it
why
seem like she might be.
Because she was all at the graduation, right? Oh yeah, she graduating? Oh yeah, I'll be there. Damn, Bill,
He's sitting there in
slow
a
your
limo
roll
out front, waiting on her to
with
get
flowers.
that diploma.
Right.
Will you have me now?
He got it on his calendar. Each day just crossed off. He got his circle. Jordan's day. This is the day. This is the day. Okay, slow your roll, Bill. Like how long? Wait, she only.
How long you all for real?
But because you had to be talking before then
Yeah.
too. Like you don't just start dating at that time. You had to been like
There was
talking
some lead up
before,
to it.
right?
Exactly.
While she wasn't
So it's
legal.
borderline on creepiness. So I think that's
Okay.
some of the disturbing news
Yeah,
of this.
for
But
real.
hopefully Uncle Bill will get this right.
Hopefully Uncle Bill
Bill will get this right.
UNC Bill. Get it right, Bill.
Get it right, Bill. I want to bring this up one more time because I know people are going to be like, if they've listened to us in the past, why does he keep harping on this? But I got to keep bringing it up because it seems like Mike Tomlin is getting ready to get shafted, D. And I say this, did ownership put the nail in Mike Tomlin's coffin by trading George Pickens to Dallas? The question was last week, did he do it to himself because he didn't draft a quarterback that he desperately needs? Now the team is trading away pieces, supposedly, because when DJ Metcalf was signed to the team, you had George Pickens there. It's like, oh, they're putting some weapons together. Now you're taking weapons away. What's really going on in Pittsburgh? It just seems, because I know the fans are restless. They don't want him. They want Mike Tomlin gone. They've wanted him gone the last 3 seasons. He still comes up with a winning record. But it just seems like somebody in the mix wants Mike Tomlin gone, and they're just afraid to say, like, they're afraid to outright fire the man. So they're just going to set him up for failure. That's my whole point in saying all of this. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. It still doesn't make sense. You still don't have a quarterback there.
Still don't have a quarterback.
But the thing is, like you were saying, okay, you bring in DK Metcalf with George Pickens. Okay, boom, 2 solid. You got the duo right there. But then it's, okay, who's going to throw them the ball? We're just waiting on a quarterback. Still no signs of a quarterback. Okay, now you trade away one of your weapons, key weapons. So it's, okay, where's the offense going? And like you said, they can't outright fire the man because he's getting winning records. It doesn't justify, the punishment doesn't justify, because he keeps winning. So if we can control, not really control
the winning,
if we can make it harder for him to start winning, that's really gonna be like, okay, fans are gonna be like, it's time for us to part ways.
It's time for us in this relationship.
He's regressing, but it's like, you setting this man up for failure. Now, if you really wanted him to win, y'all would have drafted the quarterback. Y'all would have stayed with Pickens. You would have built up this team to go where you want it to go. But it seems like they might want to start fresh. Get rid of some of the players that he's drafted previously. Get rid of them. And then ultimately get rid of him, and which is crazy. But sometimes I guess your message does get worn out. It's crazy to think he's never had a losing season. And that's so rare as a coach, especially in the NFL, when games are it's a game of inches. Pause. That you can lose or win a game just by one simple mistake or error. So the fact that you're going to get a coach like that, you don't get a lot of coaches like that. But it does seem like they setting the man up for failure because they haven't made no moves.
No moves whatsoever. My hands are tied as the coach. You're taking players away. You're not bringing players in. You're not drafting anyone. What are you really trying to do to me?
Right. What's really going
on? So that's why I keep bringing it up, because just something just doesn't look right from the outside. We don't have any idea what's going on behind the scenes, but from what I can see, yeah, they're setting that man up for failure. So moving on to the wild and the weird.
The wild and the weird.
This was called I Got Ants in My Pants.
Oh, no.
2 Belgian teenagers found with 5,000 ants in Kenya were given a choice of paying a fine of $7,700 or serving 12 months in prison, the minimum penalty for the offense for violating wildlife conservation laws. Authorities said the ants were destined for European and Asian markets in an emerging trend of trafficking lesser known
What?
wildlife species.
They slanging ants? Yo, they importing ants? What?
5,000 of them, D. They had
And they get in trouble
5,000
for
of
that?
them. And yeah, they got caught. They got to pay the fine, but they were caught at the airport.
Damn.
And, they said this particular species of ants that they collected
Okay.
is valuable, and
I'm
they
about to
had
say.
thousands of them. And they said not just a few. And they said that the species include Messer-cephalotes, a distinctive, large and red-colored harvester ant native to East Africa. So apparently, certain ants can make you a lot of money. I
That's
never
crazy.
heard of this.
I'm about to say, I ain't never heard of that.
It's very wild. That's very weird.
That's very wild, very weird.
And they said though that if they did,
5,000?
if they 5,000 of them, and if they took them to a place that they couldn't survive, they were going to die automatically because they're
The
not
right
in their
climate,
natural habitat.
right? Yep,
So
yep.
if you're removing them from that, the chances
know how to
are of
survive.
them living very slim.
Right. So it's kind of almost like they're endangering them too as well.
Yep.
Especially this particular type of ant, which is
I didn't
wild.
know ants were part of what was considered wildlife, like protective wildlife.
Yeah. Like you can't go out and just shoot lions and elephants, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Big game, because this is scarce. You want to, you put them in danger,
Mhm.
but version of extinct. But ants, I got ants calling on the
thought
table
of
now.
that.
I'm trying to see, is this the type
Hey,
of
you might want to see, D, if they're
right?
large and red, you might have some money makers on your
That's
hands.
crazy. But 5,000 ants is crazy. Like they probably went. I don't even know what they did to just go in there. That's a whole little ant hill. Do they bite? Because some ants be biting.
Exactly. I don't know.
That's crazy. That's wild
My
and
thing is,
weird.
how do you think you're gonna get away with 5,000 of them?
He just.
Hey
Yeah,
man,
I'm
what's
fine.
wrong with you?
Nah, I'm cool.
I'm good, man.
I'm good. You over there moving? You got ants in your pants, huh?
I do. It's because I do.
Wait, hold on. Bring that.
Is that 5,000 ants?
You telling me you got 5,000 ants?
5,000 ants, D.
That's crazy. That's wild, weird.
At least it's not sad this
Right,
week.
at least it's not sad. At least it's not sad this week.
I had one of them.
Right,
Like, you know
the
what? I don't
wild,
want to be
weird,
sad every week.
and the sad.
Let's just be wild and weird.
Yeah, let's just get a good laugh out of one. At least it's
All
not
right.
sad.
A little something on the side,
Little
real
something on the
quick.
side.
UFC 315. Did you see any of it?
I didn't get to see any of it, no. But
I watched the two matches leading up to the championship. I had to watch the main event. I did watch the main event, some highlights. But Jack Della Maddalena took Bilal Muhammad's welterweight title by busting open the former champ's face and especially his lip. If you look at the pictures of his lip, he split it just straight down. And then the new champion was bloodied up pretty badly himself, but it went to a decision. That was the epic battle of the night. And now he's trying to shout out, what's his name? Makhachev?
Makhachev.
That's who he wants to fight
Islam
next.
Makhachev or something.
I think you got to run it back. Since that was the fight of the night, you got to give the former champ, let him at least have a chance to get his belt back.
That's definitely a rematch. Definitely have to run that back, especially because it went down toe-to-toe. Decision too as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that and that's a war. And if the first fight was an instant classic, let's run it back. Let's run it back to see again. Was this real? Can Bilal do something different? Because that was a war.
Or does old boy just have his number?
Yep. So that was crazy. That's good for UFC too as well, bringing the spotlight to them. It was a war. I did get to see I didn't watch the fight, but I did see the highlights and read on the article that it was an instant classic. That's what's up.
Valentina Shevchenko, she's one of my favorites. She had a unanimous decision over Manon Fiorot.
That
was a good fight too.
Okay.
Valentina was tested. She won a decision. And then Amen, I think they would call him Amen. Yeah, Amen Zahabi.
Man.
Aldul's Hall of Famer Jose Aldo Jr. in the third round to take the victory, man. They were both barely on their feet. And then it was still 3 minutes left. And Aldo was looking at the clock and old boy caught him with a couple shots, dropped him. split his head open, and he was just racking him. He didn't get counted out, but he out decisioned him.
Dang, that's
I mean,
crazy.
if you watch that one, D, that third round, that's a classic round. They fought, and then, like I said, Jose had to hold him off. Did lose, but he is a Hall of Famer. So, yeah, that was a little something on the side. UFC 315, those last 3 matches, pretty good. Did you know this was a thing?
Did you know this was a
I'm
thing?
going to keep it quick. And the only reason I know it's a thing, I got caught up in some clickbait. So there's a site for women. It's called Well Dressed Official.
Okay.
Where they can wear clothes worn by celebrities and influencers. It's a secondhand store. And so how I found out about it was there was a little blurb that said, Claire and George Kittle drop exciting news. I'm thinking they're about to have a baby.
Right.
No, she just announced that she's going to have some clothes on this site.
Oh, okay.
Well Dressed Official.
Okay.
So I got suckered in, and I'm like,
right. So clickbait, right? They like, that's how they get you.
That's how they get you.
Just to get the clicks.
I'm thinking they're going to have a baby, and it's about her selling some of her clothes. So then it took me down the rabbit hole of, okay, women have this site. Do men have a site? And it's called Mr. Porter. So supposedly there's a secondhand store, designer luxury clothes for men that we can purchase. And then I found out something else, D. There's a site called Unclaimed Baggage. I don't know if you ever heard of this one.
No.
But this company have contracts with all the different airlines across the country. They'll buy unclaimed baggage and then they'll sell the stuff from them at a discount.
Wow.
And some of it,
like you might come up on some good
Gucci
stuff.
watches for half off, but they're still running $2,000.
You think it's why we have so much? If somebody lost their luggage, it's like you get somebody on the inside, it'd be like, hey man, you see somebody with some nice little bag.
How about you lose this luggage and I can pay you?
How about you lose this luggage for me?
Go to their site. They got it's called Unclaimed Baggage. They got some wild stuff. And they got some nice stuff.
Is that my suit?
Right. Is that my suit? Hold on.
I went to the airline.
Some shoes.
Those are my Gucci shoes.
Exactly.
Like, that's crazy.
Company out of all places. Where would you think this would be based?
Okay,
it's in the United States. It's in the United States.
Okay, now I would think it would be like in a market to where LA or maybe like New York.
That's
or
what I
thought.
Like my first instinct was New York.
Like a Chicago maybe or something like that. I'm trying to think where fashion is popular, but where it actually based out of, it's probably based out of like Kentucky or something like that.
You're close. Scottsboro, Alabama.
I was about to say something south, Mississippi. Something like you. I was thinking Louisiana.
Yeah, my first thought was
Alabama's crazy.
When they said contact us, I said, okay, it's going to be a New York address.
Right.
No, Scottsboro, Alabama.
Roll Tide. They putting
Roll Tide, but D. Go on there. They got some nice stuff. Good prices, especially if you click on the little clearance tab. Yeah, they got some nice clothes, electronics, all nice stuff. But anyway, Unclaimed Baggage.
Unclaimed Baggage.
You all might need to sponsor us. Not. I just gave you a hell of a shout out. Now it's time for that juicy news. Let me pour it up.
My juicy news was that Bill's story.
Okay, all right. Yep. So hold on. We still pour in it and have our product placement though.
Absolutely. Sponsored by XS.
We are powered by XS.
XS Energy.
Nice.
Hit me up for your product if you want to try. We have all different types of flavors.
Pineapple, mango, guava.
It's the favorite.
Get that in your life.
Get that in your life.
All right. So now it's time for our pops, flops, and props.
Pops, flops, and props.
Oh, those pops, flops, and props. Who you popping, son?
Pops is going to go to. Actually, it was Jake Della Madilla.
Jack Della Maddalena.
Della
Maddalena.
Defeating Bilal Muhammad in the grueling 5-round bout. That was a unanimous decision and becomes the new welterweight champion. So that was a big pops. That was a good UFC card. Just rolling back the highlights. So that was my pops.
My pops is going to be the St. Louis Blues forcing a Game 7 against the Winnipeg Jets after they fell behind 0-2 in the beginning of the series. Who you flopping, son?
My flops was actually went to Boston previously, but for blowing 2 20-point leads. They currently trail that series against the Knicks 2-1. Well, 1-2. Knicks are up 2-1. I do still feel like Boston can close out that series and win it, but that's a flop. That just shows a lot of just, like we said, arrogance, stupidity, bad coaching to blow 2 20-point leads and let them to walk you down twice at home. So that was a flop to me.
A flop for me was my pop collapsing the St. Louis Blues after having a 3-1 lead with a minute and 56 left in the game, and the Jets made it a 3-2 score. Then they scored the tying goal with 1.6 seconds left in the game, D. That was a tremendous collapse.
That is a
then
tremendous
they went to
collapse.
overtime and ultimately lost. But they get my pops and my flop, the St. Louis Blues, all in one game. That was crazy. I was all excited thinking they were going to advance to the next round. Not so fast, Batman. Who you propping, son? Who's your prop?
Props is actually going to go to Shiloh Sanders. He actually signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He got 3-year, $2.965 million. That's not bad. I think he's going to be able to eventually fight for a spot, be special teams somewhere. I think he'll bring some impact. He knows football. He knows the game. He's been around it his whole life. So props to Shiloh Sanders.
How does that work? Remember, he filed for bankruptcy at one point.
He did?
Yeah. All that NIL money he wasted. He went through it.
Maybe he does need the money.
Oh, he definitely needs the money.
He needs the money then. Because I was really about to say we come from that family, probably don't really need the money, but
I know this cat needs the money.
But sometimes for bankruptcy, you don't want someone else to grab it.
Right,
if he had like a lawsuit, or because I know 50 Cent, he filed bankruptcy and he still had money, but he was just going through he was going through like a divorce or something, like to where he didn't want somebody to get the
child
money.
Support or something
like
that.
Yeah, it was child support. So he cleared bankruptcy so she wouldn't get it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I just thought about that. My prop is going to go to Jack Della Maddalena for beating Bilal Muhammad.
Bilal.
All right, son. Now it's time, that part of the podcast of the show when we tell someone to sit your ass down. Man, sit your ass down. Please. And thank you. Who you telling, son? Who you telling?
Sit your ass down is going to go to, man, Derek Carr, man. Go ahead, sit your ass down.
That's a good one.
He's retired, playing 11 seasons in the NFL. He did have a few good seasons to where the Raiders he's trying to turn around that, but injuries kind of just got the best of him. But for you to leave $30 million on the table, I'm sure you made a lot of good money choices. Finances is on point, so we'll probably see him in I don't know if he wants to be an analysis or reporter, but we'll probably see him in some type of morning show or something like that, to where he can continue his NFL career outside being actually on the field. So sit your ass down to Derek Carr, man. Sad that it had to end this way, but hopefully you still got your mind. You still got a lot of things ahead of you. Still young, so you can do a lot of productive things and impact people's lives in the same way, just off the field. But sit your ass down. It's going to go to Derek Carr.
All right. So mine is going to go to Tyrese Halliburton's dad, John Halliburton, who can't see his son in the playoffs because he chose to jump up in the face of Giannis Antetokounmpo at the end of their first round playoff matchup. Now you can't even go to the games, man. They don't even want you near the stadium.
That's crazy.
You can't go. You got to sit your ass down at home and watch on TV like us when you could have been courtside. If you let your emotions get the best of you, you're trying to talk to a 7-foot specimen of an athlete.
When that Hennessy hit,
man, when it hits the wrong way.
He said that Hennessy hit good. I'm gonna go talk shit to Giannis.
And then it hit the wrong way. He almost got beat to a pulp.
Man,
should have got beat to it. And I'm glad that Giannis had some restraint and respected the man being an elder, and probably not want to mess his career up as well.
Yeah,
putting his hands on somebody.
He could have definitely done it,
and probably should have done it.
Right.
But John Halliburton. Sit your ass down, man.
Sit your ass down.
Now you got to watch from the crib like us. the dumbass. Don't tell me you're
Nah.
well educated too.
Right, Halliburton, Lahala dumbass.
Lahala idiot. All right, son. Good stuff. Good
show.
stuff,
Good.
man.
Another
Good
great
show.
show.
We had another great one, and always we keep the content different, flowing, and we try to bring you the top stories of the day, of the week.
Yep.
And we can't thank you all enough for listening to the Me and D
Pops and Son
podcast.
for that ass.
For that ass.
For that ass.
For that ass. Take care of the mothers today.
Yeah,
while
take
you
care of the
can.
Mother's Day.
Those
Happy
who
Mother's
have those
Day.
mothers,
Happy Mother's
happy Mother's Day
Day
again.
Happy Mother's
And also,
Day.
start putting away some money for Father's Day. We don't want that tie again.
No, yeah.
Get us
some
something good
extra
to
we
eat.
really won't.
Yeah, give us something that we want, and give us our flowers like you give the mothers their flowers. Some of us are deserving too.
Absolutely.
But go ahead, D.
Hey, but until next time. I'ma holler. Peace. Peace.
Right.